Now there's some other things I can do with something like this lift tool, which is I can add a stamp, I can import stamps. And what a stamp is, and I would maybe have to generate something. Let's see. Let me generate a stamp using Photoshop. Let me generate a stamp in order to apply a kind of texture. Now, everything that you want to do with texturing, you want to have, you're going to be working in powers of two always, so square and powers of two. So that would be 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024. Like this is 1K. You can work all the way up to 4K, but we want to have something like this. I'm just going to create. Let me also open one of those images that I used as my source images here. Or I may even want to, depending on the size of these, it's pretty small. I might want to feather pattern close texture. Look at some images to use to maybe to use as my stamp. And let's also find one that is large. So no stock photos and a large image. And maybe I'm going to get rid of it's kind of still small. We really want a larger image. And I'm seeing down here the size of it. Okay, that might work. I'm just going to go ahead and save this image. I'll save it as wing and just write to my desktop. Let's go back to Photoshop here and let's open that image. And let's just select all. I'm just saying Command A, Command C to copy, Command P to paste, and let's also transform and scale this up. And this looks like it still has some stock photo stuff attached to it, like those little royalty marks, but we'll transform this enough that you won't even see that. So something like that, maybe. Okay, so we have this kind of texture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the saturation of this thing. So let's increase the contrast and the brightness. Let's go into adjust its levels. And I really want to get a lot of kind of like lights and darks, because the light area will pull up and the dark area will push back, I believe, for the stamp. So it's fine. Let's use this as our stamp. Let's also desaturate it so we can see it in a grayscale. And I'm going to file save this as, and not as a PSD, but I'm going to, since I have layers here, I'm going to first flatten this image and I'm going to save this to my, back to that folder that has all of my assets in it. So let's just go to source images here and just say, I'm going to call this Sculpt. I'm just going to call it texture one, text one. And I might have wanted to save that in a different place, but at least I have it in my project folder. So with the stamp here, let's import, okay, texture one. And let's see if that, yeah, you see that it's starting to, if I make my brush bigger, and it's really subtle, but it's getting some of that texture. Let's see if I can increase the strength a bit more. Right, so now that might not be quite the right texture, right? But at least we're getting some, it's at least showing you what it's possible with using a stamp when you're sculpting.